Here's some Yu-Gi-Oh.
Alright, with that out of the way, let's start the video. So, a couple of months ago, Konami announced that Speed Duel is quote-unquote pausing, as they won't be receiving any new products after the Battle City Finals coming out in
I think he has
November.
more than 1,000 subs.
However, most of the community believes that this is the end of Speed Duels. I say this because I've seen people get mad whenever someone says Speed Duels is ending, but when you consider A, the factory that produced the majority of Speed Duel cards shut down last year, B, Europe themselves can't even get the cards, let alone even use them in tournaments, C, it's common for a company to say that they will quote-unquote pause something when in reality they're ending it, and D, a Brazilian distributor came out and said that Speed Duels will receive one final product and then something new will come out to replace it.
Rip.
So you can see why the majority of the community thinks this way. Regardless of whether Speed Duel is ending or not, only time will tell. However, there is one fact that people can't deny, and it's how Speed Duels had a pretty rough 6 years since its release.
What
Despite
the
being able to
hell?
perform-
Speed Duels lasted 6 years, chat? What? That's crazy. I like never paid attention to this thing at all. I never bought a single Speed Duel product. I don't have no. I know people. Actually, I think I might have a couple of Speed Duel Fossil Dynas. But that's sick. This thing lasted 6 years. It came out right about the time Duel Links did. Oh, okay. I guess that kind of makes sense to be like the physical counterpart to Duel Links. Yeah, that's. I mean, I guess, chat, you can have failed products when it's just kind of cardboard, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Or trading card games are not exactly expensive to produce. It's not like a failed card where it's like, man, we may have put $1 billion into this damn failed card, and the technology and the research and producing the card. It's like, it's cards. You know what I mean? It's just paper. But that's crazy.
Its own community, which I give it credit to, Speed Duels weren't the most popular form of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it begs the question, why couldn't Speed Duels reach the success people were hoping for? This game offered a simple form of Yu-Gi-Oh!, something that many people have wanted for a long time, but it wasn't that widely received. It was common to hear stores have Speed Duel products just sit on shelves collecting dust, or people trying to start their own Speed Duel communities at their locals, only to be forced to give up. So, why couldn't this game be more popular? Well, after doing some research, I think two major factors led to this game's rough journey. This is based on stuff I've seen online, whether it's through Reddit, YouTube, Discord, etc., as I found two common factors that people kept bringing up when it came to the problem of Speed Duels. For example, while I was editing this script, another YouTuber named Topsy Turnip made his own video and brought up these same problems, which I do recommend you check out. I just wanted to put this in here to show how obvious these problems were to everyone in the community.
What were they?
Before I present those problems, I'm just going to say real quick why they matter so much. Now, I'm not a business expert, but I do know that for a product to be considered successful, it has to break a few barriers. The most important one is the first one, which is getting people interested. And when I look at the way Speed Duels went, I don't think they were fully able to break that barrier. And yes, I am aware of its success thanks to the first Battle City box, but looking how things went after, that's what made me come to this conclusion. I brought this up because I believe that these two problems would cause Speed Duels' downfall from the very start, and that TCG didn't think through.
Did Speed Duels break the interest barrier? Because I don't know. And what I mean is, did Speed Duels develop hardcore fans? Like, I would argue that the answer is no. I think there are people who got interested in Speed Duels, but didn't stick around. Because even Duel Links had that, chat. Like, there were hardcore Duel Links fans. I'm not sure that there were hardcore Speed Duel fans. People who were like, Cap, I really love Speed Duels. I try to play Speed Duels a lot. I go to Speed Duels. Like, I don't think that they got hardcore Speed Duel fans. And there were hardcore. There's obviously hardcore Master Duel, TCG, OCG, and Duel Links fans. I think there's hardcore Rush Duel fans. Because Rush Duel it wasn't last month, but Rush Duel is usually about the 10th usually the 10th highest selling card game in the OCG chat. I think last month it fell out of the top 10. But Rush Duel has been wildly successful. I don't think Speed Duel has like a lot of hardcore fans. There are, but not enough. Okay, maybe on Reddit.
Through this properly when designing Speed Duels. I'll go through this by explaining three different perspectives: the community, returning players, and new players. However, for the first two, I'm going to merge them as I believe the first problem affects them both. After that, I plan to give my personal thoughts on speed duels and what I think Konami messed up on.
Hold on for 1 second, Jack. What's up, Ramsey?
Hey, busy?
Yeah, I am streaming right now. I just happen to hear the boom boom on my bed. Can I call you?
Yeah, that's fine. Call me back when you get finished streaming. Make sure you call me back, though.
All right, I will.
Alright.
All right, see you. All right, I don't know what's going on with my brother, chat. Hi, Ramsey. Don't say hi to my brother. Actually, maybe I don't know. I'll figure that out.
So, with that out of the way, let's get into a
let's keep
deeper
going.
dive, shall we? Okay, starting with the Yu-Gi-Oh community and returning players, the biggest problem they dealt with was how you're basically rebuying cards that you either already have or could already buy for cheap. Since you could only use cards that had the Speed Duel logo printed on them, you were forced to buy the Speed Duel products. However,
Seriously? So to play Speed Duel, you had to have specific Speed Duel version of the cards? For what reason? Because like I'm looking at this DMG, this Dark Magician girl. It's like no difference. Gains 100 attack for every Dark Magician or Magician of Black Chaos in either player's graveyard. You can use Speed Duel cards in the TCG, but you can't use, but you can only use Speed Duel cards for Speed. Yeah, that's stupid. For a long time, I didn't think you could use Speed Duel card, but once I learned that, I just assumed the opposite was true. Like, okay, I can use my regular Genzo for Speed Duel Genzo. Like, oh no, you can't. That's fucking dumb.
90% of the
That
cards...
also means that like whatever products, whatever rarity chat the Speed Duel cards are in, that's the only rarity you can get them in. I can't play my PSV Genzo.
on those products were cards that you already had in your bulk or could already afford for cheap. So for most people in this category, it begs the question, why would you spend your money on this?
Exactly.
Now, I know people will bring up how Speed Duel cards had better printing quality, special rarities, and skill cards. However, I don't think that was enough to convince people to buy the products when the majority of the sets were just bad reprints. Over the years, I've noticed that whenever TCG reprints cards nobody asked for, those sets don't usually do well. This isn't just true for Speed Duels, even the main game deals with this, as some reprint sets contain a lot of cards that nobody asked for. Things like Duelist Pack Dimensional Guardians, Ghosts from the Past, and a recent example is the Megatons. So most people in the community didn't want to spend their money on a product if it had no value in it, even if it offered a simpler format. As for returning players, they're in the same boat. Again, why spend money on this product when you probably already have most of the cards to begin
so
with?
many different accounts.
For example, if you have a playset of Blue Eyes White Dragon, why force yourself to buy another 3 pair? It's just not worth the money. Even if they didn't have some of the cards they needed, they could just get them from TCG Player. However, that in of itself has a problem, which has been brought up multiple times when researching this. You know how TCG artificially inflates the prices of new cards like Furulos by rarity bumping them,
Yep.
making them way more expensive? Well, Speed Duel kind of suffered from that too, but in a worse way possible. Because you can only use Speed Duel cards in a Speed Duel format, TCG would rarity bump certain cards that already have a cheaper printing and make that card more expensive in Speed Duels. A common example that has been brought up many times is Spear Karibo. It was an ultra rare in the Arenas of Lost Souls pack, and I heard it was a $10 card as it was one of the best staples in the game. So you needed 3 copies of it, so you're at least spending $30.
I swing.
In a way, TCG was forcing players to spend more money on a card that already had a ton of cheap copies, and I'm guessing most people probably asked themselves, why would I invest in this? Why should I buy a card that I either already have or can get for cheap? It just feels like a ripoff. And I know eventually Karibo did get reprinted in the Speed Duel boxes, but that doesn't solve the fundamental issue. Let's put this in a Master Duel perspective to show how bad of an idea this is. Imagine if Konami decides to declare that you can only use a certain card from the latest set, and any previous copies of those cards will not be allowed for official play. Let's use SP Little Knight for this and say that you're no longer allowed to use the copies from Agov, and you can only use the copies from the Megatons. This would piss people off, and I could see this being worse if they did this to cheaper cards. That's kind of what Speed Duels had to deal with. Reasons like these are why the
Athena of
packs and the
Lost
starter
Souls.
decks didn't do so well in the beginning, which then made Konami try out the big boxes, which actually did work in their favor and people did like them, but I don't think that fixed the core problem of rebuying cards, which in my opinion turned off a lot of people in both the community as well as returning players as well. Moving on to newer players and why Konami couldn't get them into Speed Duels, from what I've heard and looked into, it's apparently due to a lack of marketing. Now, when I look at Konami's YouTube channel, there are Speed Duel ads for a lot of sets, though I don't see some for earlier sets like Arena of Lost Souls. Maybe I missed them when looking through it, so you let me know if I missed any Speed Duel ads that weren't shown in the screenshot, but I could see that being a reason why it didn't pop off from the beginning. Another thing I heard that people brought up was the lack of coverage Speed Duels got at events. One thing I want to ask is whether they do coverage for side events, cause that's where Speed Duels usually would be alongside other formats like Time Wizard. Though correct me if I'm wrong, they don't usually do coverage for side events like this, right? I don't know, I don't see too many articles or live streams for side events. Again, I could be wrong with this, but
Send this video to
I feel like that's more of a
Asthma.
problem that
I'm
Konami
not
has with
obsessed
side
with
events in
Asthma,
general.
though.
I don't know if that plays a factor, but I did think it was worth bringing up.
Okay, well, wait a minute, Dark Emperor. If you had enough time to edit the video because you knew you made a mistake, why not just clip out the audio of the video? Why not just like clip that whole part out of the video? You know, like usually anytime I have to make edits or whatever, it be in like the comment section. It's because I've already put the video out. One take in. No, he has a script though. If you have a script, you're not really a one take Andy. It's like just edit it out of the video.
I also
If
want
you edit it out of the video, no one even knows you made the mistake. That's like the whole point.
to point out how Konami has promoted Speed Duels through YouTubers, as the only YouTubers that did early box openings that I could find were Lithium, Cyberknight, and Hero Voltsley. This is just my opinion, but I think it would have been a better idea to get more YouTubers involved in Speed
Okay.
Duel promotion. Unless there were more that I've missed. I don't know, you guys tell me if I missed any. I guess you could argue that not many YouTubers were interested in Speed Duels in the first place, so maybe Konami felt that it would be pointless, but I don't know.
Nah,
I feel like
can't
others
operate
would have
like that.
accepted it, especially if they're getting
Because they were still, Konami was still promoting like Duel Links and stuff. They would send Zara stuff to promote like Duel Links. And I thought Duel Links was like super dead, but they would still send her stuff to promote Duel Links. So, you know, like you can't really go on the basis of, well, the shit's dead anyways. Like, nah, just send free product to the content creators. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, you deal with it. You know?
paid, unless you're telling me that the entire time YouTubers get sponsored by Konami, they don't actually get paid. Regardless,
I don't know how
this
that
lack of
works.
promotion failed to get new players into the game, and I can see why people would say this played a major factor in Speed Duel's decline. Now, for this part, I plan to give my personal thoughts on Speed Duels, as there are some things I felt about this for a while. And to be brutally honest here, I don't think Speed Duel was going to survive the long run, especially with the way I saw TCG handle this format. Why do I think this? Well, I have two reasons. Number one, to me, it feels like TCG really tried to keep this format and product connected to DM and GX only. As I've seen people question, why didn't they move to 5Ds? And my theory is that TCG didn't want to take away the simplicity of the game. I feel like by adding synchros, you opened up Pandora's box where now you have to introduce every other mechanic into Speed Duels, and by doing that, you eventually turn it into its own version of modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, which takes away the simplicity of Speed Duels.
Is that true, chat? Because to me, that's what happened to Duel Links. Once you got the 5Ds, you basically were just in an inevitable path of becoming just a simpler version of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Which to me defeats the purpose of the entire thing. You know what I mean? Like, I get what Dark Emperor is saying. Is like, yo, let's just have... I can completely understand having GX. Because GX didn't add a new mechanic. It's just Fusions. Fusions got playable, per se. But once you get the 5Ds, chat, and you start adding Synchros in, Stardust Dragon shit, it's like, well, you're basically just on the path of, like, new Yu-Gi-Oh! So I don't know. Just stop before pendulums. You don't think Xyz are crazy? Bro, there's a very real argument, chat, that Xyz is the best of all the mechanics in Yu-Gi-Oh! And there damn sure are more Xyz than aren't there more Xyz than any mechanic, chat? Even Fusion? Because Zexal, all they did was print black cards. They didn't print any freaking synchros during Zexal era. It's all synchro everything.
Was known for. I know Duel Links did that, but when I look at the fact that TCG used Battle City 3 times to sell Speed Duel products, to me, it felt like TCG was never going to do 5Ds. By doing this, they kind of constricted themselves into a limited card pool, and while the final product added things like Max C, the Ishizu cards, and the Joker cards, those two things still relate to DM, and I feel like Max C was just...
What the fuck? Max C is in this game? Why? Like, what? This is a card from Storm of Ragnarok.
Put in there for a final hurrah.
Tiered
I don't know if that's
Speed
true
Duel.
or not, but that's how it felt like to me. As for the second reason, it kind of relates to the first problem I brought up, as I think Speed Duel should have just been a format and not a product. What do I mean? Well, I watched Farfa and Joshua Smith's Heart of the Cast
This is
podcast,
probably true, but they can't
where they
make money
interviewed
off of
former
it.
Konami employee Matt Bell. Matt was one of the people who helped create Speed Duels, and one thing he talked about is how he wanted people to relive the days of DM's anime/format with things like Night Serpent Dragon attacking Jinzo and such. One question I have about this thought process is, why couldn't you allow regular cards and advertise Speed Duels as a format as you do with Time Wizard? I do think denying regular cards into Speed Duels hurt it a lot for the reasons I mentioned before,
there's a ton
since
of
it would be more
Xyz.
money friendly for people to use cards that they already have. As for the skill cards, you could have just sold them in packs, but again, this is just my opinion on how I think Konami should have handled Speed Duels.
The reason why, chat, because Speed Duels does make more sense as a format and not a sealed product, but can't make money off of that. Konami has a history, chat, of a bunch of failed formats. I mean, there was the old format way back in the day, like 2003 or 4 or whatever, where you had the mono type format where every card in your deck had to be the same type, which by today's standards would not be difficult at all, but back then it was.
I don't know if that's the correct option, but I'll let you guys tell me in the comments below how you think Konami should have handled it. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about Speed Duels. Before I end the video, I want to mention the new thing the Brazilian distributor brought up, but this video is already as long as it is, so I'll upload a part 2 next week, so be on the lookout for
Honestly,
that.
with the success
Anyways,
of retro
I do
format,
feel
they
bad for
don't
the Speed
need
Duel
Speed Duels
community. I
anymore.
know Speed Duels did a lot of good things, but sadly they just couldn't reach the success that people were hoping for. Again, I'm not trying to bash it, but I just wanted to point out the problems they had.
This game needs
Maybe
to
I got
die.
some things wrong. I'll let you guys tell me in the comments below,
Oh
but
no, chat.
we'll
What
see
does
what happens in
Yu-Gi-Oh
the future for
need?
Speed Duels.
4D?
Anyways, that's all I have to say on this topic. I hope
Or
you
maybe
guys
it's just
enjoyed the
fine.
video. Leave a like and subscribe for more. I'll see you around.
Great video, says Anime. Wow, Anime Night actually watched this video way before just now. I disagree with... Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG never bothered to explain the appeal of this format. Plus, it ruined the first impression. Speed Duel, stop. What's it called? God damn. Bruh. I mean, just make a video at this point. Chad, if you guys were Yu-Gi tubers, would you get annoyed by comments like this? I mean, because, yeah, I'm reading this. I'm like, okay, let me see what this guy's talking about. Then I'm like, all right, this is a whole fucking... This is like a goddamn thesis. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, just make a video at this point. You have half your script written for you. Just make a video at this point. Just stretch that shit out. Just make it a video. Fuwaros saved the game. It's funny, Souza, because all I've seen is people who are just like, Fuwaros ruined Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's like, I just don't get it. Like, do you just want Yu-Gi-Oh! To be you get to play and no one gets to respond, and anything that stops you is just bad for Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I don't get it.